Hi, Philip Mason with ZUMtoys.com. Today we're going to assemble a ZUM wooden balance bike. So I've got all the parts directly out of the box, so I'm going to show you the 5 easy steps that you need to take to put the bike together. So first of all, what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and take these wheels, just inflate them to about 20 psi. They may need to be reinflated from time to time. First step though, on your front wheel you're going to put your bushings in. It's these plastic pieces here. And then they can just be inserted on each side of the wheel. So I'm going to put this on this side. And then I'm just going to gently push them in here so they're nice and flush on the wheel. And I'm going to do the same thing on the other side, on the back wheel. So I'm going to take the other one, do the other side. Just goes right in the center of the wheel. And then I'm just going to push down on it so they're sticking out like that. You can see the bushings on either side. Now at this point I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put the wheels onto the bike. So I've got my front fork here and I'm going to go ahead and just slide that front fork over the front wheel and line it up. And I have my axle here, and it's going to be the shorter of the two, so for your front wheel. So I'm going to take the shorter axle bolt and I'm going to place that through the wheel. And you might need to hold it up just to make it a little bit easier. So I've got the bolt sliding through the center axle. And then as you can see, it's flush there, it's all the way through. Now I'm going to take my nut and secure that bolt through the front axle. And I'm just going to hand thread it until it's tight. And then once it's tight, I'm going to go ahead and use the 2 Allen wrenches to tighten it up. So I'm just going to show you how I'm going to do this. I'm going to take one on each side, and they're just going to use counter pressure and just tightening them at the same time like that. So just nice and firm, you don't have to make it real tight. I do recommend, if your child's riding the bike a lot, to tighten it regularly, maybe once a week, just to make sure it stays firm and secure. So I've got my back wheel. I'm going to go ahead and place that onto the frame of the bike on the back. We've got our bushings here. The bushings do have an angle to them or a slope to them. So the highest end of that slope, you want that to be pointed towards the back of the bike. So I'm going to go ahead and take my axle, I'm going to slide it through both the frame of the bike and the wheel. And then once I slide that bolt through, I'm going to go ahead and line it up on the other side. And I'm just going to lay it down flat. And then I'm going to take the cap nut and I'm going to place that on the back side of the bike. And something else that's important to note is you do have to place your axle through the right side. So one side of the wood will have a bigger opening on it, and so your nut cap on your axle will go through that. So I actually have to flip it around here. All right, I'm just going to go ahead and hand tighten this nut on here. And then once I've got that secured onto the axle, I'm going to go ahead and just kind of prop the bike up a little bit. And I'm going to take both of my Allen wrenches here on each side of the axle, and we're going to tighten the axle up so it's nice and firm on the frame of the bike. And you may have to just kind of adjust and align your bushings a little bit so that higher end of the bushing is towards the back of the bike so it fits with the angle of the wood. All right, so I've got that secured on there now. I'm going to go ahead and put my front axle, I'm going to attach that, or my front fork, to the main body of the bike. So there is this opening right in here, and this piece, this metal piece right here on the end is going to go right into that opening. So I'm going to slide that in like that. I'm going to take my axle rod, or my steering rod, it's actually called a steering rod, and I'm going to place that down in there and line it up. And you may have to wiggle it just a little bit to get it go in. So now we have our bike almost put together. The next step is to put your handlebar on. So it's going to go right on top here. You've got your bolts on top. Just go ahead and unscrew those. And then your handlebars go on top. You can see there's holes drilled in there. This will also hold your steering rod in place. So I'll just take that. I'm going to drop those in the top there. And then I'm going to take my Allen wrench and just tighten those up. So that's step 4. Our final step is you can adjust the seat of the bike if you like. You can make it higher or lower. So what you would do for that is you can see that there's 2 bolts on each side, and then you're going to take an Allen wrench on each side, and you're going to unloose them, and then you're going to pull them out, and then slide the seat up and down to where you want on the proper spot. And then you're going to take both Allen wrenches on both sides and just retighten those bolts. Put them back in, retighten them up to adjust the seat height on it. So that's pretty much all your steps to assembling your ZUM wooden balance bike.